I'd like to call the Tuesday, March 8th Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Terry Minix, lead us, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Public comment. Anybody from the public would like to speak? Anybody from public on social media?
Nope. Nothing yet.
Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
Okay, we have civil city claims in the amount of $923,618.11.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
We have water claims in the amount of $139,151.24.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
And we have sewage claims in the amount of $197,616.15.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, next we have an update to the independent contractor agreement. I'm sorry, this is not an update, this is new. This independent contractor agreement allows us to use Corrine Fitzgerald as a contractor for our HR department in the interim, since Jen Knoll has left. She's invaluable. I mean, there's nothing I can say that we definitely need this. So, I don't know if you've been able to take a peek in it. She's helping us Monday through Thursday from 8:30 to 12:30, I believe. And just, keeping us afloat in the interim, so.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, and I'd like to say she is with Jen Knoll leaving HR, who we are truly going to miss Jen Knoll and all the great work that she did for the city, because it's not easy in human resources. But without Corrine, we'd be in trouble right now. Nick Otis, Courtney Parthun, and myself, and thanks to Nick for leading the way, are handling HR until we are able to hire somebody. But Corrine will help us get over that hump, so we would appreciate the support.
Is this a person who's already an employee? I'm sorry.
She retired. She tried to retire.
Okay, so she doesn't get a W-2 from the city already, right? Okay, just making sure. Okay.
She knows everything.
She does. She does.
You think you're out, and we drag you back in.
And now I have her cell phone number, and I'm trying not to use it after 12:30.
And we're in the process of looking for a replacement for Jen? Okay.
And here's the thing, we just raised the wage for Human Resource Director at last evening's in the first round of an ordinance, or was it a resolution?
It's a salary ordinance.
Salary ordinance, because right now, we're so far low compared to the private market and what we need that we can't compete. So
Right.
we are going to have to address that. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
This is an update to the conflict of interest form that we just had approved at the last Board of Works meeting, but this is for Tim Frankie again from Doolin Media. I think he's doing some additional items for the firefighters union, some advertising. So he just wanted to make sure and add that onto his conflict of interest.
The Fire Merit Commission.
Oh, Fire Merit Commission, I'm sorry.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Jess Bruder needs to.
Just Romine.
Jess Romine needs to abstain.
Just Bruder too, I'm sure. Since she's not a member of the Board of Works.
Discussion?
That was the only change, is it the addition of those couple items there on that?
Yeah, that was
right,
it.
okay.
It's just the advertising
Okay.
for the fire merit.
Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Member Romine will abstain. Wex fuel card.
So, this has been an ongoing conversation for, since I started in 2020. We actually have had Sarah Nimitz, which I can call her if you guys need additional information, because I'm definitely not the Wex card guru, but Sarah Nimitz has been really digging into the numbers to show us a comparison, which is not a great, it's not apples to apples, so I'm not gonna say it's a great comparison, it's just not apples to apples, of our current fuel contract versus the Wex fuel card program. So what I can tell you is that currently, the city of LaPorte doesn't have a great way to collect, doesn't have a lot of internal controls for our fuel system, and we don't have great data to make decisions regarding our fleet moving into the future. And what this Wex fuel card will do for us is allow us to collect a lot of that data. So when you use the Wex card at a pump, any of our city employees who have a vehicle, the card is tied to a VIN number. So whoever's using that card is tied to that actual vehicle. And all of you who know about this, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, everyone's gonna shake their head because they all want it. So the card's tied to a vehicle. They go to the gas station. Put the card in. The card's gonna ask you for your odometer reading right there. You've got to put in the odometer reading, and the system is smart, so it knows that your odometer reading is in the order that it should be. That all of the data dates, amounts of fuel, odometer reading, it all flows back into the billing cycle. We'll be able to capture all that data and hopefully be able to make better decisions in the future on, which vehicles should be electric, which shouldn't be electric, which, it's a good barometer of what we should be doing into the future. Sarah Nimitz has put a lot of work into this. You guys can tell from the multiple spreadsheets that she provided. I can call her right now. She's not available. We didn't have Zoom, and she was not available to come in today. She's at a conference, but she is available via phone if you'd like me to call her. I think other department heads can also.
Should we make a motion and talk?
Well, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Wex
We
cards.
have a motion and a second, and I'd like to add, this is the Department of Administration at the state level. This is their program.
Yeah, it's part of the QPA, yep.
It does a great job. This is what many of the communities use. And right now, the other part is we have 2 or 3 underground tanks, which from a sustainability perspective, environment is not good to have underground tanks at our facilities. And we don't have any way to track, not saying this is happening, but if somebody using their personal vehicle, their truck, there's no tracking of where the gas is going. And so this, while we may pay more, we believe we're gonna save in the long run. There'll be a savings.
And we don't know that we'll pay more. We just don't have that data yet.
You don't
And the
know
nice
that
thing
you
about the
won't.
card too is so the card's actually issued to the vehicle, but each employee will have their own PIN number. So if they're in a different vehicle and that vehicle needs fuel, it still is registered to the employee through their personal PIN number.
Yeah.
So it should be a good on internal controls, data collection, and then to really see for the future and our gas usage and vehicles.
And another thing, we've been having some issues where we're getting fuel at right now anyways. I know the police department's had some issues, fire department, the water department's had some issues. When those pumps are down or running slow during the winter, there's nowhere else for us to get fuel. A couple of weeks ago, I had to hand out, my city credit card to fill up vehicles because there wasn't any fuel at the station that we're getting fuel at right now.
The hard part in comparing the data from, let's say 2021 to what happens now with the WEX card is that fuel prices are so different.
They are.
So you'll have to make sure you take that into consideration when or Sarah or whoever's doing that.
I've used these cards for decades, so very, very easy to use. You can even, I think each individual who's assigned a card can probably go in and look at their own data, and you can track like how much the gas is being, you can track it all. So it's really super easy to use, and it's a ton of data.
And yeah, it's great for department heads to see what their fuel usage is for their own, At budget time, I'm sure they'll want to have a conversation about that.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Anybody from the public that would like to speak? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Barthune. Let's begin with department heads. Mark Schreiber.
Morning. Just a couple quick items. The deadline did pass on Friday for boys baseball, girls softball registrations. We just want to remind everybody, we are still taking them, although there is a late fee. We do have a couple divisions that have to be waitlisted, but if we get enough kids, we can add teams. But we do have some divisions that can still place players right now. We still have t-ball and tennis ongoing, so we encourage people to get in and get signed up. And then with the weather warm-up from Saturday, everybody got pretty excited out to the parks. Just a reminder, park restrooms will not open until April 15th. We have to wait till we're guaranteed we don't have that freeze anymore in the ground or any chance of freezing pipes. And then it does take a few weeks for our crew to get all the water turned back on at the restrooms. So just want to make sure the public was aware. So April 15th, we should have park restrooms ready to go. Thank you.
Beth West, Transport.
Morning, not a whole lot to report. We are up to over 6,000 rides so far as of the 1st of March, which is significant since COVID has happened. Speaking of COVID, just a reminder to all the public, masks are still required on public transit. I know everybody else has relaxed. They have not, as of yet, relaxed us, so we still are offering masks on the buses. This goes till the 18th. Hopefully, they'll excuse us soon, but we'll see what happens. Just a reminder that right now with the gas prices, it's cheaper to ride transport than it is to fill your tank. So give us a call so you can ride transport.
I like that.
Nice plug.
Thanks to Jess Fruiter, she put the idea in my head last night. And we've also have 2 offers out to 2 new drivers that will also be cross-trained as dispatchers. Hopefully they'll be starting by the end of the month.
Thank you. And by the way, Mark Schreiber was here, but as well, is Mark still here? Yeah. Beechwood is around the corner. Golf season is about ready to take place. And did you know how many rounds were played at Beechwood last year? Any guesses? From our Board of Works members only.
22,000.
Come on.
How many rounds I played?
No, total.
Oh, I took a lot of swings.
Well, Mr. Kosher must have been given
I just
a
threw it out
heads
there.
up. He just asked, was it 22,000?
You watched last night.
Because
No, I
that's
didn't.
correct.
No, it's not.
Yes.
One round for
Mr.
every
Schreiber?
person.
22,000, he said.
Wow.
He gets a free round of golf on
Buying a
Mr.
lottery
Schreiber.
ticket today. Lottery ticket today.
All right. Nick Minnick, Engineering.
Just kind of for the general public, you all were here, but we did award our street paving, our community crossings paving at a special meeting. We're able to rebid, adjust some numbers, and get it in under budget thanks to central services and them being able to help out. So we've got about $1.9 million of paving coming up this spring, and we'll have some other projects rolling out throughout the year too.
Great. Craig Phillips, Plan.
Good morning. Among other things, at the last meeting, the Redevelopment Commission approved contracts for the downtown parking study, so we're kicking that off. It's going to be happening over the next few months. to take a look at our parking needs comprehensively in the downtown. Also, we also approved the contract for the first phase of streetscape along Monroe Street north of Lincoln Way. So we're getting started kicking off that project, and then just busy with a couple of the housing initiatives that we've identified as a priority for the city. We have an important meeting this evening with the Plan Commission that we're getting prepared for as well. So that's about it.
And as, you know, all we've heard is the city of LaPorte needs housing, housing, housing. Now, we've heard concerns about 18th Street. You know, we can't have where people want housing as long as it's not in their backyard. So let's look at the bigger picture, let's move forward, and let's make sure we have housing for everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jess Bruder, Communications.
Morning. Not much to report this morning. I just wanted to let everybody know that with the weather warming up, we do have some events coming back for the season. We also have a couple of event announcements coming up very soon. So to be able to stay in the loop, make sure you like us on Facebook and you're paying attention to the Live in the Lake Life site. That's all I got.
Andy Snyder, Fire.
Thank you, Mayor. The Fire Merit held their monthly meeting last Wednesday night. With Rob Saby's retirement, they made promotions. Kelly Burke was promoted to the position of Battalion Chief. Since he is in an appointed position as Assistant Chief right now, that still left it open. So the Merit Commission further went on, promoted Doug Murnaki to the Battalion Chief's position, which created an opening in Captain, and Zach Caney was promoted to Captain.
And again, thank you to Rob Saby for those 31 years. He'll do great. Maybe we can get him in here for a council meeting. Harass him one last time. Bert Cook, LEAP.
I have no report, Mayor, thank you.
I'm sorry?
I have no report, Mayor, thank
Okay.
you.
Bill Denegard, Police.
The only thing I want to bring up is that we have our network is being upgraded Wednesday, so we might be down a little bit with some of our computer systems, and our staffing is getting back to good levels finally, so that's all I have today, sir.
Jeff Batchelor, Code and Streets.
Code enforcement, we've been out and about, still doing everything that we've been doing there. Street, we've been patching. We also are doing chrome rubber over the top of the patching when we're doing that. We're gonna start the stump grindings this week. Since the weather's starting to get better, I know somebody last night in a council meeting brought up about the painting that needs to be done in the city. Once it gets nicer out, that'll be starting once the weather's better.
Painting,
Painting the curbs and the parking spots.
And is that done in-house?
Yes.
Which again, we're limited on staff, so that does take away from other things. It's a tough balance.
Correct.
We all want the streets painted, though.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
Nick Otis, Legal.
Nothing.
Jerry Jackson, Wastewater.
We're starting construction season. Monroe Manor is kicking off this week. We had rain yesterday, so it didn't quite get rolling. Our phosphorus removal project construction is also getting started this week. And in this week or next week, the McClung Road sanitary extension is also going to get started. So we got a bunch of projects going on that are going to take off right now.
What is the goal for Monroe? Monroe Manor?
The completion?
Completion.
I think it's mid-July. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Just in time for your parade through Monroe Manor.
There you go. Got a convertible I can borrow you.
That's great. Tim Warner,
Thank you,
Water.
Mayor. And good morning to the Board of Works. Few things announcements I have this morning. We will be starting our fall flushing April 17th. That's will be Easter evening. I know it's kind of hard for the guys coming and work Easter, but with scheduling conflicts, it works out best for us and the guys involved. That'll be a 3 to 4 week process because in the spring now every year we get our hydrant flows for the fire department, and that also helps us determine broken valves and areas that we need to address for low flows. So we'll be sharing that information with the fire department this spring. We did apply for a construction permit for our Soldier Memorial well field a couple weeks ago. I didn't put us on hold for it. our item coordinator has switched. When we started this process, item requires a new wellhead protection design. One inspector told us we could wait till after the new wells goes in and do it all at once. Now the new inspector wants us to do wellhead protection area for our existing wells now and then redo it again when the new wells go in. So we're fighting through that process right now, but as of right now, our permit has not been granted through item. So we are working through that process.
What does the wellhead protection do, and like what does it add to the cost of?
Okay, so the wellhead protection is something that has to be updated every so many years by the water department. And basically that just, everywhere we have a well, the cone of influence, the way the water flows into the aquifer through that direction, it just puts, if there's gas stations or any industrial people in that area, it just puts us on guard if they have any spills. Anything like that. It's just to protect our freshwater supply is what it is. I don't understand why they want one before and after. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So we're moving up the chain to get the answers that we want. Like I said, we got a young inspector right now, and I think he just doesn't understand the grasp of that. So we have some phone calls in. We have an engineer also talking with their groundwater division, and like I said, it's just time. We'll work through it. If we have to do update our wellhead protection before we get this permit, we'll do it. A lot of that work we can do in-house now. It has to be certified from an outside company, so there's not a whole lot of cost that the water department would gather. It's more time, but I think we can work through that process. Yeah, I think that's all I have this morning for.
Could we enjoy spring and summer before you do a fall?
Oh, did I say fall? I meant spring. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Let us enjoy that
We
first.
do that biannually anyways, spring and fall.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to wish the summer away yet.
Department heads, anybody that does not have business before the board, have a good day. And while we have police and fire here really quick, I'm going to move to the ticket appeal if I could. We have one from Jake.
Just say the number, Mayor.
Yeah, I'll say the number. The first one being UFK 64, well, I'm sorry, where is the number?
Right here.
Ticket
Oh,
62021.
62021, there you go.
So they're appealing a ticket they received on 2/27/22 because they were parked on a city street with expired plates. The appeal says the ticket states plates are expired, but the plates were renewed. He did send a copy of his renewal form. So they were renewed in the fall, 10/28/21, but he doesn't state whether the.
Did he not have the sticker on?
That's what, he doesn't state whether the sticker was on, and the officer, the officer obviously wouldn't have given him a ticket if the sticker was on there. So
Right.
that's the appeal.
I think you gotta put the sticker
From a
on.
police permit.
His plates are valid, he just failed to put a sticker on his plates. Under state law, that is a violation. I don't really see why I don't have an issue if it's dropped for this, because it's parked, but still under state law, you're required to have your sticker on the plate.
So your recommendation,
We can cut him some slack on this one.
do I have a motion?
Not by me.
Yeah, not by me.
I think
mean,
they
gotta have your
should,
sticker
I think
on
they
it.
should have
I
the
know
sticker
that.
on, and I think if we say everybody can just not have their sticker on, it doesn't encourage anybody to keep their sticker on.
Well, I still need then a motion to deny.
I move we deny the appeal.
So
I have a
moved.
motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
And I'll just comment, really, if I lose my sticker and I notice it, I know I need to go get a sticker, or I need to take care of it in some way, so I don't know, I've gotten tickets before for things that I didn't realize were, illegal, and, lack of knowledge of the law, or the fact that you don't have a sticker is, I don't think absolves you of that, so
I agree.
And I don't know, like, it seems like the number of appeals is starting to go up. So I don't know if people are paying attention and they just feel like, let's file an appeal, or I don't know.
I
like,
believe
I'm
our
kinda wondering.
office, Courtney's office has been sending out notices of
Oh, gotcha, that one, okay.
payments that haven't been made yet. So that's, I think that's why we're receiving
makes
these
sense.
appeals. So the second appeal,
60020,
yes. She states that she works downtown, that she had parked where our previous parking employee, told her was a good place to park. And she received a ticket parking there, and the employee took the ticket from her and said not to worry about it, that she would take care of it.
Is the parking ticket appeal is dated May 11th of '21.
I think she misunderstood. That was the date of the ticket.
so
So the appeal, she just sent this appeal. You
But
brought
the
it into
ticket
me. It
was back in May
last
of
week.
'21?
Yes.
Isn't there some kind of, she already paid it then, right?
No, she did not pay it. She said that the parking person took the ticket from her off her car and said, don't worry about it.
we've had a few
The same
instances last.
issues.
Do I have
Okay.
a motion to approve the appeal?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
So, I mean, there's been a couple where like a city employee has taken the ticket and said, don't worry about it. So, I mean, either, if that's an acceptable way to handle the ticket, then we need to
She's
know
a-
that, and then.
She's
I
not
shouldn't
here
probably come
anymore.
back.
Employee
Oh,
and
that's,
employee.
okay, gotcha, okay.
That's not acceptable, so.
No.
Further discussion?
So just to that point, I mean, should we probably stop accepting appeals for,
The
When
problem
someone
is
says, you
it's a
know,
previous city employee that told them that and took it away. I mean, this is pretty old, so she wasn't even,
Yeah.
And an officer could do that in the future, just by chance. So we gotta have
Okay,
an appeal
got it.
process.
yeah. But whoever, that needs to be part of the training process for the,
Yeah, and I think these will work them, I think these appeals will end soon as the clerk's office is working through the process of getting all these notices out and of old unpaid tickets. I think this appeal process will work its way through pretty quickly.
And then we'll be transitioning out of the clerk's office to the police department as well, so.
oh, okay.
So with that,
Say that out loud.
all those in favor, state by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
The last one I have, the entire appeal just says she has no income. And actually, I believe she stated, it's not on here, but I believe her car was actually towed and she's just gonna,
Leave it there.
yeah, she can't get it and she,
How much is her ticket?
so the date of the ticket was 1/16/22. So it would be, it would be a $25 ticket.
So
It'll end up just going to collections is what'll happen.
what I'd like to do is actually, let's approve the appeal, but let's look at, there's a bigger situation here to see if we can be helpful to the person and find out what's happening, because if this is a potential homeless situation with no income, how does she survive?
Yeah.
And I would like to, if you want to just hold off on this, I'd like to dig into this just to see what the current situation is.
I like the idea of holding off on it.
Yeah.
So we'll hold off on this.
Gary,
Do we
I
need-
think we spoke to her outside of our office
Oh,
yesterday.
was that-
She was that gal, that's the gal who wrote this appeal.
Okay.
So I didn't recognize her, and she didn't
Have you
leave a number,
already-
but I can try
I
to,
will, yeah, I got an address, so
okay.
So do we have to,
we'll just
do we
hold
need a
it.
vote to table it, or
We didn't even make them.
Do I have a vote to table, a motion to vote to table this?
so moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. CBS Electric Appeal. Do we have a member that would like to discuss this? This was the discussion last time we revoked the registration within the city for CBS Electric. If you could state your name and address for the record?
Kara Smith, office address.
That's fine.
It's, 401 East Colfax Avenue, Suite 304, South Bend, Indiana, 46617. We submitted what I believe was being requested. I think there was some confusion on what was actually being requested of us, but we did submit wage statements. And that was the reason that was cited when we received notice that the license was revoked. There was a subcontractor of ours brought up originally when those payroll records were requested, and we were under the impression that they were asking for our payroll records for that subcontractor. There was just some confusion there on what was really being requested.
Was there a contact made to say, hey, we don't understand this?
Yes.
And who did you speak to?
I had sent an email. I responded to the email with the request, which was with Nick Minich.
And this was before the deadline?
Correct, it was the next day.
And did you receive a response?
No.
So you emailed and said, I have questions.
We had asked questions before this date, actually, because it had been brought up verbally. We had left phone message earlier in February, and then the 16th is when Nick had emailed, and the 17th I responded.
And when was the deadline?
The 23rd, I believe.
Was that February 23rd? February 23rd? Is
Yes.
that what we're talking about?
So you sent an email request on the 16th? No, you received the information,
Yes.
sent an email on the 17th,
Yes.
and the deadline was the 23rd, and you didn't receive a response, is what you're saying by the 23rd?
Yes.
And did you make any other contact after the 16th?
Not,
17th.
excuse me.
I mean, on the 17th, yes.
Our attorney reached out on the 24th, I believe, which was before we had been notified of the revocation.
So the attorney reached out the day after it had, the time frame had expired, like the 7-day business day?
Yes.
Do you have this in writing that you've made copies of?
Yes.
Okay, so we can get copies.
Who was the subcontractor that you were working with?
Henry Electric, we did get them to fill out a registration form. We had also separately offered to come back to site with, in the interim and also after this has happened, said that we would not be using them if there was that registration issue, or at least not use them until that was resolved.
So they were working without a permit here in the city, correct?
Without a registration.
Correct. And they were your subcontractor?
Yes.
Okay. So was it not your responsibility to make sure that your subcontractor was registered in the city?
I think technically the permit holder is I read through the section 1047, and it is the permit holder that
But you hired them though, correct?
is correct.
Okay. And then when the city asked for information regarding that, we didn't get it, the city engineer, that's what he was requesting, was to determine whether or not they were your employees or a subcontractor, correct?
We were quite, at that point, when we realized that's what what my response was, is yes, he's a subcontractor, he can get registered, but at that point, due to the other meetings we had had with the city and the inspection department, we were under the impression that we would not be able to continue work in LaPorte anyway, regardless of anything to do with that sub, because, well, essentially on the, there was a February 10th meeting where the inspector made it very clear that he simply wanted us off the project, which is not the first time he's expressed that desire, but
But that was,
That's not why you were taken off, that's not why your license was suspended, correct, your permit?
well, I'm not sure.
and that also, those comments were made due to concerns on the project. It wasn't that he was just stating that to state that.
Right, but just so we're
understand
clear,
this is-
that's not why, that's not what this appeal's about.
Right, I
You-
just want to
because
make
that
that
happened
additional
after the
statement.
fact.
No, those conversations happened before the Board of Works suspended their permit, but that's not the basis that Mr. Minnick requested the permit
Correct.
suspension. It was because they didn't timely provide payroll information due to this subcontractor issue.
Mr. Minnick, do you have anything to add, if we could hear from our engineer?
Well, so, Mr. Rose, what you're saying is, so the issue with the inspector on site, that's separate from what we're talking about here, which was the subcontractor of Henry Electric that did not provide the appropriate wage information, right?
Right, so in what you suspended CBS for at the last meeting was that the city engineer pursuant to our ordinance can request information to make sure that the contractor is compliant, and they can request that to be provided within 5 business days. According to Mr. Minnick, he requested that information and didn't get a response from CBS. And it was in regards to the payroll information that
Payroll or subcontractor. I think you were trying to determine whether they were on payroll, W-2 employees of CBS Electric, or 1099 subcontractors of CBS
Correct.
Electric. Is that
So
right?
when projects are over $250,000, we have a right to request that information.
So I would like to hear from our engineer for a moment.
Nick, you want to say?
You want to sit here?
Oh, I didn't know there was another seat as much as here. How does messed up chair get way down
I know, I have it.
Yeah, so we did, I'm just pulling up my emails too, just to make sure we're clear on everything. We requested payroll information because our concern was that there were improperly classified employees working at the site, whether that be through an unregistered subcontractor or contract employees by a contractor. This becomes a real issue because any concerns that, anything that happens at the site, if that contractor doesn't have, say, proper workers' comp or, other things, then it opens up the city for a whole lot of liability and issues that we just don't want to have. So in our ordinance, it essentially allows for us to verify that workers at the site are properly classified. I did get an email from CBS. The email was referencing Henry, but it wasn't referencing whether or not, it really had nothing to do with the request, which was for the payroll records. So it was more of a, in my opinion, kind of reading through it, it was more of a statement and really didn't have a question associated with it. So I didn't respond because I didn't have a question to respond to necessarily. But yeah, we did receive payroll records now for the site. I have not been able to get through all of them to verify and make sure that the employees on site were properly classified and covered under their employer's workers' compensation, and contractors were registered, and we have some additional coverage with that too legally. So we can continue to verify that, but it ultimately is up to the board what you decide to do.
Further,
did-
oh, go ahead.
When did that information come in? That you say you have received?
I think they provided it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the deadline.
After,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Further comments?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to finish the comment I was making regarding the situation on the 10th. So we as I said, we did get them to, Henry Electric to fill out the registration form because that was what we were being asked for, I believe, was actually payroll or for them to register. However, at that meeting, it was unclear whether we would have be able to continue any work in LaPorte, and for us to tell this contractor, please register, make that registration payment, make your payment for your bond. We don't know if you'll actually work here at all, but go pay this money for that. It's not that's a tough sell.
So,
I guess what I struggle with is you allowed them on the site without confirming that, correct? That, Nick, how is that generally handled? You're more knowledgeable in this area than I am, but if a contractor or subcontractor then hires a sub.
Yeah, so I mean, it's similar. This is the process we would take. We had a number of issues at the site that most have been alleviated. But we would usually do a stop work and make sure that contractors got registered. We've still not, I mean, we never received Henry's application even, so, I mean, even if we had the application and we're in the review process, we could be a little bit more comfortable with it. But again, there were workers at the site that we don't know if they, were covered under their employer's workers' comp or liability insurance, or if there was, any recourse through our bond we require. So the issue is there, whether or not they're going to continue to work or not. There's still a group of workers on the site that we do not know if it's appropriate for them to be there.
so I think, go ahead.
So we would still request that a contractor be registered, even if they're no longer going to work in that scenario. We've done that in the past. And what we've done in the past is, not allow that contractor to, so that usually comes with a fine in addition, and then that contractor would not be able to, they would get registered, and then they have to pay their fine also before they'd be allowed to work again.
I see.
So,
But they haven't even registered as of right now, Henry Electric, is that
Their
true, or Henry?
subcontractor has not registered, no.
Okay, so that has
so
not
I
been
don't-
done.
I
There's
don't
payroll
know-
records that you've been provided, you were last week or 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, but you have not since then seen the registration for
So,
Henry.
so I still don't know if the workers that were brought on site by Henry Construction, were, if one of them was injured that day, I don't know. If one of, we don't know any of that information, and it, again, it opens the city up to a certain amount of liability that, we have a process in place that we don't have to take on that liability, so that we have, contractors following a certain set of rules, so that we're protecting employees, we're protecting the city, and we're building safe buildings.
And we've set a new standard of expectation. So with that, with all due respect, I'm going to make a motion at this point to deny the appeal. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
I guess, so Nick is still reviewing these payroll records. What, do you have something, do you have a recommendation after you review them?
I don't yet. I mean,
No, I understand that, but when you're done reviewing them, so this contractor knows whether they have an opportunity to come back or not.
Yeah, you could bring it back
Yeah.
if you
All
wanted.
right.
So right now, I have a motion to deny and a second. Further discussion?
So really what, the appeal is here for, it's for CBS Electric
Correct.
overall,
H-
right?
Yes.
Henry has,
Right.
yeah.
Okay,
Because Henry is under CBS.
okay.
They were.
Further
Or were.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes 3-0, and they have the capability of working with you to update.
Yeah, I don't think there's a restriction for them to, after we review everything, for them to come back and maybe adjust their appeal.
Thank you.
Did you want a copy of the email that we sent him asking for clarifications?
We'll get that from Nick. We'll get a copy, but at this
If
point.
I could get a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
At
'cause
this
I think all you
point,
guys need copies, because this goes a lot deeper than that.
and I think at this point, you need to work with the engineering department, Mr. Minnick, to bring back.
and I'm sure we'll be dealing with Nick Otis on this a lot as well. 'cause
Thank you.
This goes a lot deeper than that.
Thank you.
You know that.
Sir, we're trying to
So
work,
we're
we're trying to
be
work with you here,
respectful.
so
You know,
don't-
those type of comments are exactly why you're in the position you are right now.
if you just would have put.
I can read the
And no,
email. and
we're not gonna do
very
this.
clear that there
You
was
had
not
an
a
appeal.
question.
It was denied. You can work with the engineering department. The city of LaPorte is setting standards for expectation for people that are working in our community. And the information, sir, if I may.
You're talking
Sir? And the opportunity will be there to work with our engineer. Thank you. We will now move to second Saturday kickoff. And I believe that is with
Kelly?
April Kelly. The date of event is on May 14th. To run in conjunction with the farmer's market, 6/18th, the plaza. I believe she does this every year. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, any concerns, fire or police?
None, Your Honor.
None.
Streets? Water? All right, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Job description, Senior Center Supervisor, Mark Schreiber.
I'll read this one.
Morning.
Good morning.
Just very quickly, just the backstory on this. Towards the end of 2021, the Park Department became involved with the Senior Center. Swanson Center was wanting to get out of that particular realm. A plan was made to shift over to the YMCA. Some of the members that are there, that was met with some resistance, so we stepped in and started working with them on developing a plan, both short-term and long-term, for the Senior Center. The Swanson Center did extend their supervisor on site for an additional 3 months, so that will expire at the end of March. The Park Board has approved us taking over those operations and developing programming for seniors. So this is a job description to hire a part-time senior center supervisor.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. And again, the Healthcare Foundation has been a big proponent of this to keep it going. And the pay for this, we're
Correct.
hopeful that the Healthcare Foundation will be supporting this.
We have written a grant in the first grant cycle with the Healthcare Foundation. Very optimistic that they'll help support this position as well as other funding to maintain the center, as of course, we as the city, we didn't have it budgeted to be doing this for this year. So, but we do need to at least get the job posted and get this moving so we have somebody in place to begin April.
So what's?
But if it's not in the budget, how does that play out if we don't have
And
it?
it's not on the salary ordinance.
Funded
We need to get it
by-
added to the-
Okay.
This is a part-time position, so we're hiring it as one of our part-time, which is in the salary ordinance. We can
Okay.
pay up to $16.50.
Okay.
So what, like, just what's the long-term vision with this? Is it basically that in kind of doing this now to keep the programs running,
Correct.
potentially do some other programming, right, to develop some additional
Correct.
things,
So
but then
we-
hand
we-
it over to, or we keep it within the Park Department?
It's very open-ended. So right now, we have taken on the lead as far as keeping the senior center open for the short term. That's our goal, was to get funded with the Healthcare Foundation and to have this position there. And at the same time, start to grow it out. Over time, if we find that that's the right fit for the Park Department and we continue to be the right community entity to be running that we're very open to that and would welcome that. But we also know that there may be some other entities that we work with that might be better suited. So long-term, we know we do need a new senior center, a physical building that needs to be built. That's a discussion that, is ongoing also with the Healthcare Foundation. But again, this is just to get the short term to get through this year, and then we'll be developing a plan to extend beyond this year and then long-term.
And we believe seniors deserve to
Absolutely.
have a facility, have programs. We can do better.
Absolutely.
This
long as
hasn't
our
been
pay
funded
for it.
yet, though? I'm still not
We
clear on that.
have not received any confirmation from HFL. We're very optimistic.
What's the timeline for receiving a response,
Well,
one way or the other?
typically, they won't come back until probably late April with their response. So
But are we starting somebody in the position?
we would be
beginning
starting
of
somebody in
April?
position. So we're committed to funding that position regardless. But we would hope to have that funded through the HFO.
But Maria Fruth is,
Got it.
Very, like I said, we're very optimistic that they will fund it. But again, we've made that commitment to keep the senior center open. So again, we'll make it work.
and she's been very supportive and committed to financial support.
Yes.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Bill Denegard, request for lateral transfer pay.
Right now, we're looking to hire an officer from another agency as a lateral. He has 5 years' experience as a field training officer with another agency. Phenomenal potential officer for us. We're looking to try to get him started at a lateral pay. So for his years of service, he'd be starting as a specialist basically at 58 instead of the normal 50,000. So that's what we're just asking approval to hire him at that rate.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Is that typical? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, this is an excellent opportunity. Everyone that has, can I say that?
Yes.
I mean, everybody that's come across this individual has been excited to hear he's interested in LaPorte.
And this is a normal, okay thing to do?
That's what I wondered. Have we done this in the past where we kind of honor those?
We have, and a lot of agencies are doing that now. They're basically getting officers from other agencies to come to them, and we almost have to do something like this to get some of these officers. And this officer, phenomenal officer, tons of experience. He would be a great fit for our agency. So I know this is one thing that'll help get us officers like him to our agency and keep officers. So I'd really like to get them.
Does that create any conflict within the department for others who have had 5 years' time and are not at that pay level, or is that the pay level?
That's the pay level. So it's, like I said, it's becoming a very common thing with other agencies, so.
Very aggressive going after the drug traffickers.
Yes, extremely aggressive.
Which is, our priority and focus.
Are you allowed to say where they're coming from?
He asked me to hold back on that just because he doesn't want to upset any other agencies. We'll put it that way.
All those in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Emergency Response Team RFQ quote opening.
We have,
Treasurer
Yeah,
Parthun.
sure. So Officer Jaskowiak can probably speak to this since he's kind of leading the charge with this. I assisted him with an RFQ for emergency response team equipment. Since it will be funded with American Rescue Plan dollars, I wanted to make sure that we opened the quotes in a public setting. So I'll let Officer Jaskowiak kind of speak to the program, and then we'll open the 2 quotes we received.
She said, my name is Officer Jaskowiak. I'm with the department for about 4 years. Recently, I've been selected as one of the team leaders for our emergency response team. What we're looking to do is put together a team of about 8 members, 8 police officers and 1 guy from the fire department to function as a tactical medic, essentially to respond to more high-stress situations, high-risk felony warrants, execute drug search warrants and stuff, things that the normal patrol officer just aren't equipped to respond to. With the ever-evolving situations that is law enforcement today, we need a team of guys that are a little bit more specially trained and better equipped to handle high-stress situations. Perfect example is the recent civil unrest situations that have been going on throughout the country. We found that our department is fairly underprepared to deal with those situations, and the team that we're looking to put together would be better suited to handle those type of situations. Due to the dangerous nature that the team's going to be responding to, they're only going to be responding to high-level, high-risk situations. So with that comes expensive equipment that we have to utilize that the normal patrol officer isn't equipped with. Just for an example, the normal vests that we wear on patrol aren't equipped to handle rifle rounds and stuff like that. They go through them. So the equipment that we're looking to purchase for these 9 members will prevent rifle, shotgun, and stuff like that. myself, as well as other members of the team, have met with different distributors to look at equipment, to demo equipment and stuff prior to reaching out. There's a lot of different options out on the market. We wanted to make sure that what we're looking at purchasing and getting quotes for was not only a good value, but was also going to keep our officers safe and protect our officers. So we've demoed various different products to kind of get a general idea of what there is to offer out on the market. And then we, with the assistance of Clerk and Treasurer, submitted 3 different quotes to different companies to see where we're at with pricing and stuff like that.
But this is not low-end equipment. One thing we've said is we want to keep
Yes, sir.
our officers safe. You've obviously had a situation and an encounter, broken leg. I mean,
Yes, sir.
you're always in the mix.
Yes, sir.
And we want
Yeah.
to keep these guys safe.
Yes, sir. Everything that we've priced out, I mean, obviously you can go the level's kind of limitless with where you can go as far as pricing and this kind of stuff. I mean, there's just no end of how expensive you can get with this equipment, but everything that we've looked at, we've made sure is quality, we've gone with reputable companies that stand behind their product. A big thing for me was the testing that these companies perform. They're held by a national standard for law enforcement, but it's kind of an outdated standard, so all the companies that we looked at for their product far exceed the national standard for ballistic protection, essentially. So, to make sure that these guys, that everybody that's on this team, that whatever operation they go to, they're going to come home at the end of the day, go home to their families and stay safe.
And we have over how many high-risk warrants in the city of LaPorte right now?
Roughly right now, there's 900, I believe, roughly warrants, and of those, we have flagged about 120 of those I'd consider high-risk felony warrants, where there's a greater potential for serious risk to the officer if, just say, the normal 2 patrol guys were to go up there and try to do that. With that, we also have, our team will work closely with the LaPorte County Drug Task Force executing narcotic search warrants throughout the city, which is becoming more and more common. Within the last 2 months, 3 months, I believe, we've executed 2 narcotic search warrants simultaneously. Up until this point, we've relied on the LaPorte County Sheriff's team to come out and assist us. While we're great for their assistance, it's kind of created its own set of challenges, whether it be interdepartment policies, conflictions with the departments, or their team being preoccupied and unable to come out and assist us. So there's been multiple occasions, many of which that I've been a part of, where our patrol officers have had to just step up and probably work on some situations in which they weren't completely equipped for, but that was a situation in which we were dealt. Like I said, we're very grateful that the county has allowed us to use their team, but at the end of the day, the county team is dedicated to the county, and if 2 situations were to unfold in the county at the same time, obviously that would leave the city of LaPorte unprotected, as the county team is going to respond to the county to take care of their incident. So I've spoke with the county, I spoke with Michigan City, who also has a team. They're excited to get involved and kind of start the teams working together to better protect the whole community as a whole.
And I want to be clear, the council hasn't yet passed an additional appropriation for this. As it's new to the city of LaPorte, we wanted to see where we even landed with quotes that would come in. So before doing an additional appropriation, we want to see what the cost of equipment would even be. So, I mean, there's a
So we're not
process for everything. We're opening the quotes
and that's it?
to look at what the costs are, and hopefully that'll give us an idea of what to legally advertise for the additional appropriation.
So let's open the,
All right. The first quote is.
how many do we have total?
We have 2 quotes to open today. Star Uniform is the first. Would you like to read these?
No, go ahead, ma'am.
This is all equipment you've selected, right?
Yes,
for
sir.
the-
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is also similar to the tree quote, I believe it was, that Sarah Nimitz presented to the board as
Pieces.
I don't know that all of these items that were listed on the RFQ, they're not going to all be filled in. So we'll have to put together a bid tabulation.
Yeah,
and
so
compare
we've
apples
had
to apples.
some difficulty finding, just like you said with the tree coats and stuff, there's no distributors that sell absolutely everything that we need. There's gonna be some piecing together. A lot of the uniform stuff doesn't sell the firearm equipment and stuff like that, so we've kind of.
So this one is from Star Uniform, And their quote that they submitted is for $66,006.70. I do see some areas where they're not able to even quote on some of the equipment. And then the second quote. Oh, geez.
Does this include weapons as
Need
well?
scissors.
It doesn't include weapons, it includes some weapon accessories, but I believe
Oh, I heard
that Star uniform probably isn't able to supply that, so I don't believe that's on there. Also, what those quotes don't include are bringing in instructors for training. So we're looking at utilizing the same outside trainer that Michigan City and County utilize. They bring him in on a monthly basis. He's retired military and has a lengthy history of qualifications. The concept behind that was that way all three teams will be unilaterally trained. So if there's a large-scale incident that requires 2 or 3 of the teams to respond to work together, regardless of what agency you work for, I know what he's going to do and he knows what I'm going to do, and that way we can all just come as one group and work together. Obviously, manpower issues is being this is going to be a part-time basis. If we have, one guy that's off because he's hurt or, a guy on vacation or whatever, we can utilize other people to work together, and there won't be any difference besides the patch on your sleeve. So,
That's great.
so yeah, it doesn't include that.
The second quote is from Ray O'Haran. And that there are a few open areas as well where they're not able to bid. It says out of territory, but their bid was $76,964 for the total of all of the individual items. So I think that we would want the police department and legal to review both of these.
So we just need to have a motion to accept the bids?
And review.
We
then-
do?
Yeah, accept them.
And review.
Pending
Yeah,
individual
I'd
review.
like to review them as well and
Yep.
see what's
I thought
they're
there
not
wasn't
able
even an
to
ordinance.
facilitate on there and reach out to other manufacturers and stuff at this
Do I
point.
have a motion to approve?
So I move we accept for legal and departmental, put it that way, review bids.
Awesome.
Have a
Second.
Discussion? Anybody from the public?
Is there a canine on the group, in the
Yes, ma'am.
group? Is he gonna get a
I believe that K-9 already has a vest that we received from
does.
another organization, so he doesn't have in fact. And the K-9 will actually receive additional training as well on how to incorporate the K-9 from a patrol capacity to an emergency response team, tactical team
I'd
capacity.
love to see
so-
that when you guys do the
and
training. I'd
we
really love to watch.
absolutely encourage the more city involvement, the better. I think the more that we can get involved with the city and the rest of the community, it'll only be a better thing for everybody.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us posted when you guys do
Absolutely.
the trainings. Thank
Further
you for all the
discussion?
information.
Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Jackson, basement backup grant. It's that time of year.
It is, I got a basement backup grant application for 1310 Lincoln Way. Just to remind, these grants pay to isolate the basement or the combined sewer system so that you can get backups. The cost of the grant is $2,250, or cost of the work is $2,250. That installs a sump pump that collects the basement drains and pumps them out. The grant would pay $1,500 of that cost, and I would recommend the.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Beth West, 3 items today.
Actually, Clear Lake, I don't know what Clear Lake is. I mean, I know what Clear Lake is, but that isn't in my forte. The 2 items that I have are just basically contract signatures of the clerk treasurer, myself, and the mayor, and the other one is of the attorney and the mayor. These are our contracts that we have with NERC to make sure that we stay in our standards for feds when it comes to reimbursement of money.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Courtney, you'll make sure those get to Alan? Thank you.
Clerk Treasurer Parthon, will you make sure of that?
Yes, you have the originals, so that's what I need. Yeah.
Clear Lake Loop Design Contract, I assume that's Mr. Minnick?
Yeah, and I don't have the contract for you today, so I think maybe we will end up holding off on this. We'd like to move it forward, but we're also going to include those fees in the additional appropriation, so I think if we, two more weeks will not kill the
Delay
project.
the project.
Yeah.
Unfinished business? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
I think it's one.